If you never listen to another podcast of ours, I would hope that you would listen to somebody else's.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's Jeff Heilman project. We are in the month of March, and all month long we're talking about various things in regards to health. On our first episode of this series, we talked about your heart health, and today we're going to go on talking about, in the acronym, ear health. So H.E.A.L.T.H is what we're going to be doing for the next 6 weeks.
Today's E?
Today is E.
Okay. Are we listening to the right thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're talking about our ear health. But before we get started
I'm so
with
glad
that...
I have a producer. I have a producer and I have an editor.
Yes.
Because if I didn't have those two things, this podcast would never exist, and I can tell you that as a fact.
And we are so glad that it does. So thank you so much for showing up.
Yes, I just show up and open my mouth. And my producer, Jessica, and Andrew, my editor.
And
co-producer.
I feel like I'm his co-producer.
You're the co-producer. He's the producer.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair. So I don't even know what I do. I just
You're just
open my mouth.
Talent.
Yeah.
You're the
comic
project.
Relief. I'm the project. I'm the project.
You're the project.
Yeah.
Well, here's some interesting facts that maybe people didn't know about their ears. Did you know that your ears never sleep? Your ears are always actively listening, even while you sleep, even though you might not be consciously aware of all of the sounds around you.
Wow.
I thought that's pretty interesting.
It's
your ears never close.
Your eyes sleep.
Yeah.
Your skin sleeps.
It regenerates, I guess.
Yeah.
Your ears never sleep. Your ears are self-cleaning with wax, moving outward to trap dirt and protect the ear canal. So
nice.
That's what that ear wax is for cleaning out the old ear holes.
Joe Dirt. Okay.
The balance. Ears play a crucial role in balance with structures in the inner ear, like the semicircle canals, helping to detect movement and maintain equilibrium. Which we know not to shake our head like a dog if we're experiencing vertigo.
Or you'll experience it more.
Yes, there are little crystals in your ears that are like a gyroscope, and they move. And if they get off balance, then people end up coming down with the vertigo. And yeah, it's a whole thing. So, our hearing range, humans can typically hear sounds ranging from 20 to 20,000 hertz. I remember when we were kids growing up and getting the ear test when they would come to class. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The beep, beep, beep. Yeah, I remember that. The smallest bones, the middle ear, contains the 3 smallest bones in the body. The malleus, which is the hammer, incus, anvil, and stirrup. So hammer, anvil, and stirrup inside your little ear, little itty bitty bones.
You have a whalebone.
I do. I have, and I should have brought it. Talking about
Andrew
ears,
can put it on the. Yeah.
But we have
he can take care of it in post.
We have a whale bone, the inner ear bone of a whale. And how did I get the whale? But
like
okay, so there was a beached whale. And it was decomposing and it was rotting.
Yeah.
And
nothing like my wife wanting to dig her hand in there and get his ear bone out. Good job.
It was just a random bone. I wanted a bone because it was so cool. And the only one that I could grab that wasn't attached to stuff was a very small bone. And I picked it up and I took it home and I cleaned it and I bleached it.
It's a bleached whale bone.
And then I had to look it up to find out what bone it was. And it turns out it was a ear bone of a blue whale, I think, something like that.
Sorry, whale.
The eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the throat, helps equalize pressure on both sides of the eardrum.
That is true.
Taste and ears. Some nerves that carry taste signals also pass through the inner ear, meaning there's a connection between hearing and taste. That was interesting.
Okay.
Unique identifiers. A study recently found that ear shapes can be as good as fingerprints for identifying individuals. Evidently,
Minority
you have
Report.
your own unique ear.
Wow. Okay.
Ears grow with age. The cartilage in your ears keep growing, which can lead the ears seemingly getting bigger as you age.
Wow.
I have noticed like old men and like old grandmas and stuff, they
massive.
seem like their ears are like really big. It's like, what happened? Your face gets smaller? No, your ears evidently keep getting bigger. And then lastly, sound travels at approximately 760 miles per hour, whereas light travels at about 186,000 miles per hour. So
Yes.
sound travels
That's at sea level.
at
It changes as you go.
sea level
Oh.
at 760 miles per hour as opposed to light, which is 186,000 miles per hour. So those fun, interesting factoids on our ears mean that they are very important. Not only are they important for us listening and our ability to just stay alive in fight or flight response and being aware of our surroundings, but they're also very important when it comes to what we listen to and what we believe and what we ingest, because we're more or less consuming with our ears just like we consume with our mouths. So
Yeah.
what are you thinking about when we talk about ear health and how we are responding?
I think about the fact that we used to listen to Amway tapes for 15 years. We would put the right stuff in our head. When I think about ears, I think of them as programming input mediums or mechanisms. So we listen to Amway tapes. We listen to motivational tapes. We listen to church sermons. I listen to books on tape. I still listen to them. I mean, when I'm in the car, I've got 3 books going right now. I got the Leonardo da Vinci biography that I read at night before I go to bed. Isaacson's one. We've got the book that we're reading,
Living
Fearlessly by Jamie Winthrop.
No, Winship.
Thanks, Jamie. And then I've got an audiobook that I'm going through, Alpha Brain by Stephen Dunier, that I listen to when I'm lifting. So it's another.
It's appropriate that it'd be raining right now, and I don't know if you guys are being able to pick that up through the microphone.
I don't know if you can
but,
hear that it's raining,
there's
but
the
it is
pitter-patter
raining.
on our aluminum roof.
Yeah,
There's
we're in a
sounds.
garage. We're in a like an aluminum garage that was erected on the property to house, cars or whatever you want to put in here. And it's 2 cars and it's standalone, but it is an aluminum roof, just a single sheet of aluminum roof, and it's really loud. It's just hammering rain.
But it's also nostalgic, which is another, I think, important factor of listening is, who can deny the sound of a baseball game on the radio and the
that's right.
instant nostalgia of being with grandpa and listening to it outside on a hot summer's night, or the amazing sound of a baby cry, mothers hearing, and then the fact that the moms can hear their baby cry and know the difference between 10 babies, which one's their baby, which is pretty cool. It's also important, and I think that it's cool that we read the fact about the fact that your ears don't sleep, that if you're going through any kind of trial or tribulation, that you could listen to, like what we used to do is we'd put those positive tapes on and go to sleep listening to them and letting our mind continue to just absorb. The fact that the ear is shaped like a funnel, I don't think that's by mistake. It brings it all in, and then it goes down into our subconscious and our conscious mind through that big funnel. But 24/7, if you're going to be going through stuff, I remember one of the pastors I think that we would listen to was talking about people who are fighting cancer, that if cancer is going to be attacking you 24/7, then, be listening 24/7 to words that are going to be encouraging you and lifting you up, because it's not resting.
It shapes your narrative. It shapes your internal talk track. To this day, the businesses that we run, the work that we're doing, the relationships that we have with people is a function of the way that we talk to them, the way we communicate. And that's a function of the tape that's going on inside our head, which is a function of the tapes that we've been listening to for 30 years on how to think right. And
it's so easily accessible now. You've got podcasts you can binge. If playing a video, television, falling asleep with Netflix, if you put on some documentary or something like that, and it's playing, you're going to fall asleep. You won't be watching it, but your ears are still going to be listening
Yeah,
to it. So
still programming your mind
it's
for
still
success.
programming.
And it's like people talk about, well, what is that, brainwashing? Look, if you're not programming your mind for success, by default, it'll be programmed to fail.
And some people need a good washing of their brain.
Some people's brains are dirty. Where are you dirty? Why is your brain so dirty? Wash it out.
Wash it.
For goodness
Wash it
sakes.
clean. Wash it all clean. Yeah, and it can go so, meditation music, worship music. It could be audible word. It could be, just listening to, chimes and chants and, whatever it is that you need if you need rest. Like if you're needing rest, or if you're needing encouragement, or if you're needing belief, that's what this podcast is here to encourage you today for, is like, don't let up. Double down. Double down on what you're listening to. Double down on the propaganda that you're receiving, that it would be encouraging and uplifting, and use the tools at your disposal through podcasts or binging or...
Yeah, you're listening to a podcast right now. You might be watching it on YouTube, but you're listening to it too. And we think that this is good content. We originally created this podcast so that we could have something for posterity for our kids. And now we're episode 95. What are we at, Andrew?
98.
98.
98, episode 98.
Two more, and we'll be at the big hundo.
Yeah. Do we have a big plan for that? You're gonna have a party or something?
Well, we have a special
Cut the
guest
cake?
coming next week, so that'll be
Okay.
99.
99?
She'll be there. She'll
Okay.
be on our 99th
Maybe she'll live
episode.
to 99. I hope she does.
I hope she does too.
Yeah.
And then we have, well, if we go back to our plan, then that would be our reach. Actually, it would be A, and the A in the acronym HEALTH is our arm's length. What are we doing to reach others? And that would actually be a pretty good 100th episode, is talking about
Reaching
reach.
others, which
Reaching
is what we're trying to
others.
do.
1 to 1, 1 to many. That's
Yeah.
us. And
The one thing I would say, though, the other thought as far as ears is, the Bible says that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word. And when they're talking about hearing, there weren't many people reading back in 2,000 years ago.
yeah.
So how are you going to get the message of Jesus? How are you going to get the message of prosperity? How are you going to understand what the scriptures are unless you can hear it from a scribe who could read it? And that faith, what is faith? I've struggled with that for a really, really long time to try to figure out what faith actually was. The best I've ever heard it was the TLB, the Living Bible, TLB version, that said that faith is your confident assurance that what you want to have happen is waiting for you down the road, even though you can't see it. And if you think about how exciting is our lives, I don't care if you're a Christian or not. If you're a Muslim, you can still have faith. If you're a Christian, you still have faith. If you're Buddhist or Kwanzaa or I don't
Hindu.
even know, Hindu, like if you think, hey, I need to go to the store and get some milk, well, you don't have milk yet, but you're confident that it'll be there. That's faith.
Mhm.
Getting in your car with the expectation, which we experience as dopamine, the hunger drug that makes you hungry to go get the milk. If you have that picture in your mind of milk, or even if you don't drink milk, soy or orange juice, whatever, anything you want to keep cold, Tommy. If you are going after something that you can't see, but you can imagine it and you believe it's out there for you, you are exercising faith. And to think about the fact that that's like the great energy source that gets stuff done in the world, and that you can get that by listening.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
What?
Well, and it speaks to the success that colleges and universities have with lectures and in class versus just at home reading text, and you can definitely go to college by mail. You've been doing
You
it for a long
absolutely
time, but when you can actually go and hear a lecture and take notes based on what you're hearing, it's that cementing the text, cementing the knowledge that you're working to listen to, which is why we always encourage people to, go to church or assemble or go do your, go in person and And how many times have we misinterpreted a text message because we hadn't heard the tone of the person that was texting
right.
it to
That's
us?
right.
And then so many problems happen because somebody's saying, like, texting, like, I'm okay. Like, and then we're interpreting that going, I'm okay. But they're really going, I'm okay. Like, or like, it's
Right.
all
Or I'm
good.
okay. I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay. It's like, oh, you're just okay. So, like, making sure to confirm with somebody by giving them a call and saying, hey, before I go off the deep end regarding these texts that I've been reading, voice inflection is so important. And I know in business for you, you guys are doing, I'm shocked at how much executive level business you guys are handling over text now, even personal texts, not even just like Teams
Oh,
text
I'm
messages.
closing $1 million deals over text all
Over
the time.
text.
All the
And
time.
and like I
All the
can
time.
only imagine how critically more important it is now to understand inflection and every now and again do a call or reach out just to make sure to see how your customer's doing, because you know you're not, if you read a no, it might mean not yet or not right now, and then you're reading it and it's like, well, no, never. And so it just like, how do you guys deal with getting people on the phone if you're doing so much work through text? Like, is it something that you guys do?
Sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
So the question is, like, how do you navigate in sales, and as a successful salesperson, how do you navigate like when to reach out beyond just texting and like being able to hear voice inflection and
I go
stuff
the other
like
way.
that?
I go the other way. Hi, my name's Jeff. Thanks for being on this call. Hey, we're really interested in your product. Great. Fastest way to get a hold of me is text message.
Okay.
Here's my cell phone. Please do not hesitate to text me. And what's a good number to text you at as we get ready to close this deal? It's just assumed that we're going to be closing the deal over text.
That's great.
So that's a shift. I wouldn't say that I did that over. I don't have cell phone numbers for any of my customers from the time I spent at Oracle, but some of us you do.
Yeah.
Because email is just, it's necessary as a
lost.
paper trail, but it's not instant, and we need to collapse timeframes on things to get deals done.
So do you find yourself calling for confirmation ever to hear their voice and hear how they do? Like, I guess when a deal might look like through text that
If
it's
a deal's
starting
going
to go
south, we'll try
go
to get
south.
a phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Then you try to
but
get
no,
them on
I'd
the
rather
phone.
stay on text.
Okay, that's
It's,
good.
I can spend more time playing guitar and playing golf and less time working on stuff for customers when really they need to be working, because if they're trying to close a deal, they're going to be doing probably more of the work because they're doing the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, ear health is being important, and the reason why we call it ear health, obviously, we're coming of a certain
It's really about
age.
heart. It's really about heart health, by the way.
Yes.
Ear health is about heart
and
health.
becoming a certain age, though, literally, you should go getting your
Yes,
ears
if you
checked.
can't hear this
and-
podcast, you might want to get your ears
if your
checked.
decibels, I know my Apple iPods or whatever, they'll like warning, like you've listened to max loudness for too long or something like
AirPods
that.
are starting to be able to do hearing aid functions.
And you can
That's
do a
pretty
test. I
cool.
think that
Yeah,
they'll
you can
test
do a
you
hearing
too.
test, yeah.
And you can do a hearing test.
Yeah, but not in your garage when it's raining.
No, not in your garage when it's raining. But you're right. It's your all of your health could be summed up into heart health, and making
Yep.
sure that your heart is in a good place, because clearly if you're going to be choosing to listen to some pretty dark things, if you're in a dark
Yep.
place
Yep.
and you're going to be listening to dark people speaking into your life, that's another big part, is being careful who's speaking
That's
into
referring
your
to
life.
people spiritually, not their skin color,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yes, darkness.
People
overall
of
darkness.
darkness. Yeah.
Yes, and that being careful of what you're listening to and who's speaking into your life. Like, there's boundaries that are a big part of ear health, and being able to say, no, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that, or finding a healthier situation to where the people are not continuing to put you down or make you feel small because of the words that they're saying. Because we used to have a saying, your subconscious mind can't take a joke.
That's right.
It doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. We've been reading about in the book about a false like truth versus false truth.
Well, yeah, we're talking lamenting versus complaining.
Right. And if we're going to hear something, like, we need to evaluate, is that a truth statement, or is that just somebody, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, I think, will absolutely hurt you.
Words can end countries.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to add to what we're
would just
talking
say,
about as far as
be careful what you put in your ears.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Q-tips or pencils or things like that. I'm talking about be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you allow and I'm not trying to preach at you, but I hope that this message, we see that there's, 100 or 200 people that are subscribed, and dozens and dozens of people each week, if not hundreds, that listen to it, depending on how we promote it each week. The people that are listening to this, I would just say that, if you never listen to another podcast of ours, I would hope that you would listen to somebody else's good stuff, good content, because that's Jessica and I. We are able to speak a word in season to the people that are weary because we put so much work into ourselves. I've probably listened to, just figure, I would say on the average, probably 30 minutes a day of positive something, maybe more, but let's say 30 minutes a day. So 3 hours, call it 3 hours a week, 35 hours times 5 then would be 100, call it 150.
We have boxes
160
of
hours.
Tapes.
Think about that. If I've listened to 160 hours, no. Call it an hour a day. It's probably an hour a day. That's 30 hours a month. That's 360 hours a year times 30 years. It's been 30 years that we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So what's 360 times 10 is 3,600 times another 3, right, is what, 10,800, something like that. 10,800 hours just of listening to positive stuff. You're going to pick some stuff up if you make that habit change. You're going to
So who are some of your favorites? You list off some of your favorites or orators that you actually audibly like to
Norman
listen
Vincent
to.
Peale, Robert Schuller, Andrew Carnegie. The Rockefeller book on tape was fantastic. Titan by Ron Chernow. The stuff that I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, a lot of Jim Rohn, who's Tony Robbins' mentor, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, Stephen Dunier, Steve Siebold, Darren Hardy, Dennis Waitley did one on that was really impactful, was Psychology of Winning. That sold over 1 million copies, just that one audiobook. And people that I listen to, gosh, Justin Welsh now, just top level influencer in digital and social media marketing. Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk swears a lot because he's got kind of an edgy, kind of Russian immigrant, give the world attitude. But his content is as good, if not better, than anybody I've ever seen ever in any topic, and his has to do with digital and social media marketing. And if you're not subscribing to Gary Vaynerchuk on all his platforms, man, you're not giving yourself the decided advantage of the best, sharpest material about what it takes to be successful. And I would hope that you would check that out. I would die if I got to do Gary Vaynerchuk on this podcast. That would just be a dream come true.
I would say for me, I'm just like trying to, people's voices I love to listen to. I love John C. Maxwell has got a great
doesn't swear.
voice. Creflo Dollar, another voice that's just like, it just puts me to sleep, man.
All Christian. You really don't listen to anybody that's not a Christian pastor.
I like Malcolm Gladwell. I like his voice a lot. He's got a really cool sound to his voice.
He talks like this, kind of a little bit like a Rocky and Bullwinkle. But he talks very quietly like
I like to listen to. Oh, I love listening to Pastor Isaac from our church, Pastor Isaac Parasiami, because he's got that really cool Indian
Yep.
tone to his his.
Joseph Prince.
I love Joseph Prince. I got to listen to
Always
him
listen to
regularly.
Joseph Prince.
Pastor Adam, I really like
Adam,
listening to his
Dick
voice.
Burnell.
Joyce Meyer has got a cool
Joyce Meyer, another
sound, and
Christian
she's got a
pastor.
really
Yep.
good. She's got a really good voice. Yeah, I think a majority of the
Do
stuff
you listen
that
to
I
anybody
listen
that's
to.
not a pastor?
Erwin McManus,
Another Christian pastor?
another pastor.
Yep.
No,
That's
I
pretty
don't.
much all you
I mean,
listen to.
I listen to
Just
books.
church stuff.
I listen to books on tape, and a lot of times those authors will read those books, and I don't like not all of those. I just recently was listening to that one, Super Communicators by
Charles
Duhigg.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's
I
a
mean,
cool guy, by the way.
I listen
Beard
to.
envy.
I listen
Beard
to
envy.
I listen to other things, but I think because of my profession, because of what I do, a majority of my input that I'm listening to are pastors of
Yeah.
significance that are speaking scripture and like
Yeah.
stories and stuff like that. But I loved listening to Rich DeVos. I mean, he has his Selling America is one for the ages.
Yeah, if there's anybody here on the podcast who has never listened to Rich DeVos, his talk on Selling America, that was literally committed to congressional record by
Yes.
President Gerald Ford as one
The
of
Library of Congress.
significant, culturally and historically significant. It's a 25-minute talk that he gave to a bunch of young, up-and-coming FBLA students in Canada, I believe, in
Yes.
the late 60s. And it's one of the best talks I've ever heard in my life, Selling America by Rich DeVos.
There was another one that you loved listening to by the basketball player. There was a basketball player that you loved listening
that's
to.
an Amway tape by
But it wasn't about Amway.
no, it wasn't by an Amway guy. It was an
Right.
Amway function in Orlando. It was Pat Williams.
Yes,
And
that's
the talk was called "The Only Talent Is Perseverance."
good stuff.
Yeah, that's probably got to be one of my top. The Only Talent Is Perseverance. It's an old Amway tape. You can get them on eBay. That's in the Jaeger Network Internet Systems tape system. Pat Williams, The Only Talent Is Perseverance. That tape was probably the first time I listened to a really good success talk that stuck with me. I've probably listened to that tape 500 or 600 times. It was.
And if you're
formative.
curious, you can always Google speeches, success speeches, valedictorian, and not what are they called when they have honorary
Commencement.
commencement
Yeah.
speeches are fantastic. Admiral William, the one
Make
who
Your
wrote
Bed.
the Make Your Bed every morning, his commencement speech is a really
Supposed to
good.
be pretty good. Yeah.
Good one. And obviously we've got like Reverend Martin Luther King's speech, we've got Gettysburg Address. And so if you just Google, most successful speeches of all time, you can probably get audio files of these speeches.
But I would encourage you. I think it changes you. I think it changes how you feel about yourself and how you help other people feel. And I still hear myself saying words in the pronunciation that I heard those words on certain tapes,
Yeah.
to where I try to be like those guys a lot. I try to sound like them. I try to feel what they felt and help other people feel the way that I felt when I first heard them talk. Another
My
one,
name's John,
Pigs.
and I'm your friend.
Another Amway tape, has nothing to do with Amway, but an Amway tape that is world famous in that universe is called "Pigs Don't Know Pigs Stink" by Dave Severin. It's a double cassette, 4-side cassette tape. You can buy that off of eBay for $2, and oh my gosh!
Well, clearly we're geeking out about all of the awesome stuff that we've been able to listen to,
Yep.
and I
really
will
good.
continue to
really,
double
really
down
good.
on listening to. I remember my girlfriend Natalie; she came to visit last October, or 2 Octobers ago, and the one thing she commented on was, Jessica, you always have music playing. Like, we always have music playing, and it's usually like jazz, or it's Christian music, or it's some other form, even rock and roll, because we like all genres, but there's always music of some sort playing in our house and in our cars. And I didn't even ever think about it, but I'm always trying to set a mood. And I do believe that music and audio books definitely set a mood. And so if you would like to lift the mood of your house, or if you want to make a calm mood, then choose something good to listen to today.
Right. Thanks for being with us here on the Jeff Heilman Project podcast. And we hope you have a great
Love
rest
you
of your
guys,
week.
and see you next week.
Great rest through the weekend with your family. Thanks.